So touch on two questions. The first one, I believe a brother from Ethiopia asked here about people in Ethiopia being divided. I don't buy that concept, unfortunately, because I don't think there is a concept called Ethiopia to begin with. There is no national identity called Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the coming together of different nations and nationalities. The Tigrans, the Amharas, the Oromo, the Ago, the Kamant, and the Somali, and what have you, make Ethiopia what it is today. What's happening today is there is a government that is sitting in the helm of power alongside its regional cronies that are trying to impose a one unified identity on people that are innately different. So the Tigrans are being forced to deny who they are and become Amharanized, as it has been evident when the forces from the Amhara region were raping the Tigran women. They were telling them that they were doing it in order to Amharanize them, in order to cleanse their bloodline, in order to ensure that a Tigran womb doesn't continue to reproduce. So I don't necessarily think Ethiopia is not a one unified country. Ethiopia is the coming together of people. There has been a multinational federalistic order that helped people coexist peacefully with some shortcomings. But now what's happening is even that constitutional order has been disrupted and they can't live together anymore. So I think it's important that we start our assumptions correctly. So the assumption that there is one unified identity called Ethiopian is absolutely wrong, and it's not true, because I am not an Ethiopian. I am a Tigran who was born and lived in Ethiopia, and by the constitution I became an Ethiopian. The same thing can be said about everyone else. The second issue is, okay, so if people are fighting against each other, then what's the solution? There is a blame coming from the Amhara against the Tigray. There is a blame coming from the Tigrans against the Amhara, blame from the Oromo against Amhara, and vice versa. Okay, if we all agree that the federal government is violating our rights, why was it so difficult during the active conflict, during the genocide in Tigray, for people to come together and call for a transitional government or hold the Ethiopian government accountable? When myself and His Excellency and others were actively working towards putting an end to the conflict in Tigray and calling for an international credible justice and accountability mechanism, many, including those who are sharing this stage, have been working purposefully in order to deny that chance. So I think it's really, we have to have these hard conversations and we have to be honest if we are to find a solution. The solution is there has been a power structure in Ethiopia that is now transitioning, that is not being changed, but still there is a unitarist camp that is forcing people to deny their identity, and there is land grabbing. There is this burning desire to claim something that does not belong to you. So the solution is to respect people for who they are and to let them coexist. If that doesn't happen, people should have the right to go about their own way. The Ethiopian Constitution, under Article 39, allows for people to exercise their right self-determination up to cessation. So if anyone doesn't feel safe in Ethiopia, in that agreement, then they should be able to have their own independent country. Because I, as a Tigran, cannot really foresee a future where I refer to myself an Ethiopian, because Ethiopia has killed my father, killed my mom, continued to suffocate my people. So I think that's the reality.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think the main problem in Ethiopia is it emanates from the attempt to destroy.
But you heard the question. They asked 3 questions. I want us to kind of answer their question and keep the time.
To destroy the federal system. Like they said, both of them said, Ethiopia does not have one identity. We Ethiopians, we have very little things to share except the country, and that state formation, because it didn't integrate all its people, were not considered themselves as one people, in fact. And this attempt has been done in the last 30 or something years by bringing them together to form a state. There was a federal arrangement in which every region uses its own language, cultivates its culture, and that was, we say, that was a very good beginning. But now the attempt to destroy that and to take away the hard-won rights of the people, and then to squeeze everything and then put it in one melting pot has brought all these problems. Because like I mentioned earlier, the current prime minister tried to destroy anything that is associated with the identity of various ethnic groups and denial of diversity. Therefore, I think as far as this continues, the country will, the fate of the country will not, we do not know what it leads to in the future. So as one country, like my friend said, what can we do? And then I will go back to my original recommendation, whether some people may accept or may not accept. I will say, well, let's go back to constitutionalism. Let's present our idea, the federal group, and then the whatever group there may be. Let's hold our own ideology, and then appear in front of the electorate, and then let's get elected through that, and then try to form one government. That is how we, what I say at the moment. Otherwise, what the government is doing, or through armed struggle or other things, the one we are trying will not take us anywhere, and the country will not head towards unity, I suppose.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So 2 questions. The first one, the person who raised it around
Yeah,
here.
the way forward. If I can repeat the question for you, it's the way forward, and what alternative, to the current issue, the conflict in Amhara, and then obviously.
Before the way forward, he asked it until when Amhara started fighting for survival, because he said, first he mentioned all people or all others, they say the question is about survival, the war is about survival, and something like this. And I don't know why the person makes it question when it comes to Amhara issue. First, my question is for you. Amhara saying we have the question of survival. They are trying to fight peacefully. They were demonstrating, they were asking in different ways, in peaceful ways. And after a long period of participating in peaceful activities, they are tired of all these things, and they stand up for their rights. So this time, there is no any single Amhara who cares about the survival of the whole country. Amharas are well known for it as a unionist, and who are caring about Ethiopia, who are caring about the survival of all people as an Ethiopian. But this time, almost all Amharas, they believe they have first to survive in order to think or in order to share Ethiopia with others. First, they have to survive. So the question is, surviving from the genocide, surviving from the killing, the massacres which is committed by the government. And I don't believe there is a war between people. I don't have a situation, I don't have, a problem with that one. My problem is with the political groups. The war between the federal government and the Tigray, I believe it was a political war. It is not a war between Amharas and Tigrays. That's what I believe. But the situation leads that people to die. As my friend said, we lost millions of people within 2 years' war. It was a political war. So we need a political agreement. We need a political solution. But in order to have that, you know what? We have to acknowledge, or we have to recognize what's happening in each of us. We should not say always, it's always us. The situation happening in Tigray, now it's happening in Amhara. Yeah. The situation happening in Amhara is happening in Oromia and so many in other places. Yeah. Unless and otherwise, we will die together. And this time, I can assure you, there's no any Amhara who is concerned more about Ethiopia rather than the survival of itself. First, we have to survive. First, as a people, we have to survive. Then we will talk about living with others. And about the situation that my friend mentioned, I don't know where. I know the story. As a journalist, I tried to, I know the story, what you said about the burning is in the wedding like this. I tried to get the stories from both sides. So I think it's better to see what the story from both sides, but I don't know who is making it and who did that one, so I cannot send this message. But I can assure you, the people of Amhara were fighting for the true survival. They didn't commit any kind of crimes against other people or other nations and nationalities who were living in Amhara regional states. Okay. That's what I say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have, I know a lot of you guys are raising hand. Okay, I know, okay. So here's what's gonna be. Abdi, how long do we